friends, welcome back to the channel. Jake, Ashley, and Sam the cat here. We are embarking on an adventure in our camper van to visit 7 of the 30 MLB stadiums. And this is week 2 of our journey, making our way from Baton Rouge, Louisiana to Houston, Texas. Thanks so much for joining us. We left off last week heading out of New Orleans, and this week we kick things off heading into Baton Rouge, more specifically, a little town called Breaux Bridge. But first, we made a very necessary stop at a true road trip staple, Waffle House. Moved on to another important task, washing the van. And I realized I never officially introduced you. We named our van Bingy after our late orange kitty. Next up, we caught a midday movie, Project Hail Mary in IMAX. It was so good. We highly recommend. After the movies, we made our way to the home of the Le Maires, another Boondockers welcome stay. We made our home here for 2 nights, and we were incredibly grateful for a peaceful stop along our travels. The Le Maires live at the end of a private road between 2 farms. Our first night there, another camper van was parked on the property, a couple traveling from Canada. Our hostess Pearly speaks some French, and it was really cool watching her communicate with them in their native language. Moments like that remind us how travel connects people in the most unexpected ways. Pearly and her husband Clyde offered to cook us a homemade Cajun meal for our second night, and we gladly accepted. Sam loved this property. We opened all the windows and the screen door, and she spent hours watching the neighboring cows graze and moo. Clyde also set out bowls of seeds for the birds, so mornings turned into prime time bird watching for our feline friend. One morning, I went out for a little wake-up walk, and this animal started grunting at me. At first, I wasn't sure what was happening. Then he started doing this stompy thing. And that's when I realized this is not a cow. It was a bull. Maybe he was doing a mating dance for me. We'll never know. I wish I had better footage of this, but I actually fixed one of our window shades in the van. It had been sloping, so I took the whole thing down, retied the string, and now it stays up. Love an apple snack. Yum! Sunrise on our last morning at the Le Maires place was stunning. We were thankful for a hot shower in their home and the chance to take our time before hitting the road again. Sam was soaking it all up, too. Look at that cutie pie. Boop! Here's a little look at the not-so-luxurious side of van life. Dumping the tank.
Gotta show the reality of van life. But you guys don't want to see our number 2, so I want to show you that. But look at Jake's gloves.
We've definitely been frequenting Planet Fitness. Okay, this was a hungry decision. We stopped at a pizza buffet, which was delicious in the moment, but my stomach was not very happy afterward. Oops. Next stop, the Urban Oasis in Lake Charles, Louisiana. This place was a surprising delight. Sometimes you really don't know what to expect from these stops. Even with photos and reviews, you just have to show up, and this one delivered. That evening, I joined a call for an offering called The Cocoon, led by Danica and Chelsea. Danny guided us through a meditation, and Sam seemed to enjoy it just as much as I did. While I was on the call, Jake walked to a nearby bar. When I finished, I met up with him. But first, I had to say goodbye to Louie, the Urban Oasis ambassador. What a sweet, fluffy boy. We grabbed dinner at a local spot called OB's and enjoyed a delicious smash burger and a non-alcoholic beer for me. This was a tiny town, and the locals were incredibly friendly.
Hi, everybody.
When we returned to the van, it was time to post our very first OU Journeys video. Y'all, the time and effort that went into that video was intense, but posting it felt so rewarding. If you haven't seen it yet, please go check it out. The Urban Oasis, also known as Common Space, is managed by Dee. She's such a fun, free spirit, and her property reflected that energy. There was a bathhouse, laundry room, koi pond, lovebirds, and even a yoga deck. Yes, a yoga deck. All to myself.
These pretty birds.
Jake went for a run into town while I took advantage of some gentle movement and meditation. Sometimes you just need a little quiet time. After movement and starting the laundry, I made us some taco bowls using the ground beef and seasoning we bought from the farm. And I have to say, I was pretty proud of these bowls. I'm not much of a cook, so every successful meal feels like a big win. Here I am doing the dishes with my little helper girl. Sam is a surprisingly hairy girly for being a short hair. We needed to brush her before doing the laundry. Look at all that hair. Do you think she's proud or disturbed by how much hair we got? After finishing our chores and wrapping up work for the day, we headed to Texas. And this time, I got the sign. Yeehaw! Look at that flag. They say everything's bigger in Texas, right? We crossed this beautiful bridge into Beaumont, and it reminded me of the Skyway Bridge back home. And I think that these are oil rigs. Correct me if I'm wrong. I did learn Texas is the center of U.S. oil production, with roughly half of all drilling rigs located in the state. Next stop is the Pine Tree Lodge. The food here was so good. We shared an appetizer sampler, fried catfish, shrimp, and of course, homemade banana pudding. No regrets. We also spent some time watching gators and turtles in the water nearby. They were very well fed by visitors. I even watched a little girl toss a fry with ketchup to a gator. Who knew that they liked ketchup? Good morning, sleepyheads. Guess what day it is? It's Thursday, March 26th, our first baseball game, the Houston Astros home opener. I wore my Rays jersey, signed by Randy Arozarena, and I plan to wear it at every stadium we visit. When we left the Pine Tree Lodge, there were 2 more camper vans in the lot. We love van friends. Here's Jake driving to Houston with his trusty co-pilot. Before heading into the city, we filled our freshwater tank using a facility we found on iOverlander. We attached our filter, hooked up the hose, and filled Bingy with fresh water. Then we drove into Houston.
We made it to Houston.
Good morning.
Where's the gal?
Sam! She's excited. Seeing the skyline appear in the distance was such a cool moment. We drove straight to the stadium to grab a photo of the van and our baseball stadium map. New stadium unlocked! We parked the van at our sleep spot, Equal Parts Brewing. We got a beer and then hopped on the streetcar to bop over to the stadium. Opening day was full of energy, live music, tents, giveaways, and lots of fans. Texas Roadhouse was handing out free pulled pork sandwiches, and yes, they were delicious. The stadium, now called Daikin Park, formerly Minute Maid Park, is beautiful. It has a massive retractable roof that can close in less than 15 minutes. Walking into the air-conditioned space felt amazing, and the huge windows still give an outdoor feel. Fun fact, although AstroTurf was famously named after it was installed in the original Astrodome in 1966, the current field boasts natural grass. This is unlike many indoor stadiums. One of the coolest moments was seeing the giant flag roll out during the national anthem, but even more impressive, a bald eagle named Lincoln flew around the stadium. I was absolutely shook. How cool! You might recognize him from the Budweiser American Icons commercial for Super Bowl 60. We left after the 7th inning stretch. Can't miss Take Me Out to the Ball game. And then we went to this little Mexican restaurant recommended by a local. The Astros lost. Bummer. Since it was an early game, we decided to do something special. A drive-in movie. In the van. We saw Project Hail Mary again. Yes, we liked it that much. Have you ever been to a drive-in theater? Feels so nostalgic and old
It's
school.
intermission time, folks. So hurry, hurry, hurry. Step right over to our refreshment center.
Tune your
For the most
radio to a
extravagant
special
array of
station,
refreshment
sit in your
goodies
car
ever
or
assembled
outside
under
in
one
lawn
roof.
chairs and
Enjoy
grab
the
snacks from the
breathtaking,
concession
mouth-watering
stand.
goodies.
I've been
Everything
on a
from
sour
snack
Skittles
to a
kick, so
delicious
that's what I was munching on. Here's a sneak peek at one of my favorite images in the film. The next day, we visited Space Center Houston. This may have been one of my favorite experiences of the entire trip so far. I got emotional multiple times, partly from sleep deprivation, but mostly because it felt truly magical. The Space Center holds over 400 space artifacts. We saw a real spacecraft, walked through shuttles, and I touched a piece of moon rock. I'm not gonna lie, for a second, I might have thought that was a real guy floating around. Remember, I was a little bit sleep deprived on this day. We enjoyed walking through this space shuttle and the shuttle carrier aircraft, which is a heavily modified Boeing 747. You can see how much they stripped out the inside of this aircraft to compensate for the weight of the shuttle. I learned that the Falcon 9 is a two-stage-to-orbit, partially reusable, medium-lift rocket manufactured by SpaceX and was the first commercial rocket to take humans to orbit. Here I am walking out of the White Room on the orbiter access arm. After exploring Independence Plaza, we took the tram tour to the astronaut training facilities where astronauts prepare for spaceflight using mock-ups of the International Space Station and the Orion capsule. Next, we visited Rocket Park, where they house the Saturn V rocket. If you can't tell from the video, it's huge. At 111 meters, it's roughly 80 feet taller than the Statue of Liberty, the tallest, heaviest, and most powerful rocket ever flown. This is one of only 3 Saturn V rockets on display in the world, and this one at the Johnson Space Center is the only one comprised of all flight-certified hardware. One of the most powerful moments was visiting the historic Mission Control Center. We sat in the restored control room and watched footage of the moon landing. You could feel the history in that space. It made me wonder what it must have been like to be there in real time. We ended our time in Houston with one more movie called They Will Kill You. And then we began making our way toward Austin, Texas. Week 2 was full of new experiences, meaningful connections, and unforgettable moments. And we're just getting started. Thanks so much for joining the journey.
Our apologies to Noah. We missed your shout out this week. We'll get you next week. Vincent, get us out of here.
Hope you subscribe our video and hope you press the red button to do this.